My name's Chris Hoffman. I'm the CEO of RYNO Motors. We manufacture a single-wheel electric motorcycle. The rise of the machines. So we are surrounded by machinery today. It's everywhere. And to really appreciate where all this started and kind of how it interacts with the human experience, I went for a walk yesterday with my sister on her farm in rural Texas. And we stumbled across some history right out in the farm fields. It was just amazing. And if you look in the upper left, there's a little piece of hardware there with a pulley on it. And that pulley would have been connected to a steam engine. And so the advent of the steam engine allowed designers to create things that saved labor and made people's lives different. And as we evolved through World War II, what came out was a 50 horsepower gas engine left over from some Jeep or some tank or something. But these 50 horsepower engines were so cheap that it launched an entire industrial revolution in the farm implement area where here's a combine. One little thing changed and innovation happened. So there's this little piece of standard equipment, which is an example for a lot of things that we live around. There's all these little leaps that happen. And the leap that happened for me was the accelerometer gyro. So the little thing that's in your screen and your laptop that makes that knows where the center of the earth is in my bike. It's the size of an aspirin. So what are you going to do with not a 50 horsepower engine? What are you going to do with a little gyro? So this is the bike that's in all those YouTube videos. There's like 19 million views on some of these videos out right now. And it's just grinding away because there's something about this bike that they just love this bike. So I managed to put together a team of experts and a board of advisors, and we started asking ourselves, well, what are we going to do with this thing? How are we going to roll it out in the market? And at the same time, I got an order for 5 of these things for $25,000 a piece. I'm tooling up to build them on my garage. And I meet my COO, my operations guy, and he says to me, dude, if you build those 5 bikes in your garage, you're going to get stuck there for the rest of your life. Let's just stop. Let's go out and write a business plan that proves this company will scale. And if it won't scale, you're wasting your time. So we took 6 months and we went out and found real numbers, talked to real Segway dealers, talked to motorsports dealers, and put together some solid ironclad numbers and pitched it to investors, not with how smart we are, but we talked about how we had a plan to get smarter. And that built trust, with the investors. So with $1.5 million, we had a shot at doing something right. And so how do you do that? So the first thing we did was we understood, what does this thing do? When we're riding it around in the city, how does it show up? What is it about it that makes people excited? And what features do they want? We talked to the police department, all this, and they want replaceable batteries, and they want this parking bar thing in the front. And so as an engineer, I could re-engineer this bike mechanically to meet these market demands, but how do you make it beautiful? How, as a mechanical engineer, do I figure out for myself how to design something that's actually beautiful? And what I discovered was I had to really change my own psychology almost. I had to get over my fear of failure. I had to stop listening to other people. I really had to start to own my own experience and my own vision, and I had to feel what this bike was for me. And what I realized for me, riding this thing around, is it creates the experience of riding into a coliseum on 2 horses bareback. And that's what I'm selling. That's what people resonate with. They want to be that guy too. So I had to figure out how to take that feeling in my body and turn it into hardware. And it's an emotionally gut-wrenching experience. A lot of prototypes and cut cardboard and carved foam and angsting about it. We're not there yet. And I just have to say that be prepared to be changed, by your experience with these companies. And you look at the Jaguar XKE. You look at that car, it's sexy. So the guy that designed that car didn't just try to make it shiny. He felt it in his body. How do I feel the experience of driving this car? And how do I make that in a piece of hardware? My fan is the Bowerbird. The Bowerbird designs this presentation of how it feels to attract a mate. So it's an erotic experience of creativity that he's completely unattached to. He's not hustling it. He's not hard selling it on you. He's building it because it's beautiful and it represents who he is. So that's the kind of confidence you have to have, is just be an innovator and be confident about what you are doing and be ready to go out into the market and build something that you're passionate about, because you're the only one that knows that can be that. So that's kind of the biggest part of the book that I'm writing, Heart and Gear, is talks about all of that innovation. How do you become a better innovator and find yourself? And now I want to talk about my future of transportation. So I think the future of transportation has to be about saving time. Absolutely. We don't care about saving the planet. Nobody cares about saving $20 a month for gas. They want to save time. I want to be home with my kids a half an hour early. And the thing that's wrong with our transportation is nobody knows where to park. 30% of the people in the city are riding around looking for parking. The self-driving car and autonomous vehicle stuff is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. All these people are spending billions of dollars trying to make autonomous vehicles happen on the freeway and in the city, and the minute you get it past 50%, we're going to have gridlock. I'm sorry. But at 5 miles an hour, if I can drive up to a store and have my car go park itself in a designated parking place, like a parking vending machine, and if this car has standard lift points that allow it to be picked up by automation and put into a start parking structure in 3 minutes, and I can go to my phone and say, call my car down to this address, and the car will come down and pick me up, I think that scenario will work. And so what really is missing with our transportation system is long haul, point-to-point people transportation, and you get a car at your destination. It's actually backwards. We're driving all these cars around, but the cars need to be stacked up at the train station, at downtown locations, out in the suburbs, and get everybody on a train that's a high-speed train and take you from car vending machine to car vending machine. Because people want a car. And they want a car that is safe to drive in the city. They want an SUV-style driving experience. They want to be up high. They want to be surrounded by this big rubber bumper. And they want a car that's cheap. I mean, you look at low-income people, and they're hit the hardest by not having transportation that's affordable and transportation that gets them to their jobs downtown. I mean, there's restaurants that can't even keep a restaurant open because they can't afford to pay the people to work there because they can't get to work. So the transportation system, for me, has to get cars off the freeway. It's, and nothing's going to change. So there's a certain amount of leadership that people need to embrace, and we can't wait around for government to change anything. I mean, this room is filled with people, I can feel it, that can make things happen. We as people can make choices, and we as people can influence what happens in our cities from a local level. This proposal that I'm talking about here, you can build an entire parking structure, fill it full of these cars for less money than a concrete poured structure, and it will generate more revenue than the parking spaces in a concrete structure. So again, I'm asking, who's going to lead this conversation? Who's going to build the future of urban transportation? And who's going to step forward? Thank you very much.